Hello everyone, in our last class we had already learned about what is the formal organization, what are its advantages, what are disadvantages of formal organization, as well as we had also learned about what is the informal organization as well as what are the features or advantages or disadvantages of informal organization. Now it's time to discuss about what is the basic difference between formal and informal organization. There are many differences which can came into exam, as well as in exam this question maybe came in many times, as in what are the differences in between formal and informal organization. So my dear friends, you need to understand this concept very carefully. Let's see first the meaning. Let's discuss with each and every point. Meaning: in case of formal organization, generally it refers to the authorities or responsibilities to be set by the prescribed line of communication, or the responsibilities or authority to be formulated by top management. But in case of informal organization, there are not such an authority, no such an authority or responsibility, or no prescribed line of communication is there. So it refers to the structure of well-defined authority and responsibility, responsibility. But in case of informal organization, it will be generally based on social networking, social relationships. It refers to the network of social relationships which develops automatically. It created automatically. It won't require any rules and regulations to form a group, to create a group. Clear? Next is nature. What kind of nature of formal structure organization is? It is rigid and stable, as in it is fixed for each and every organization, each and every employees of the organization. But in case of informal organization, my dear friends, it is flexible, as in it can be changed, it can be adapted to each and every person, it can be adapted or changed by any person also. Next is authority. In case of formal organization, it is arises authority is given by top management only, it is virtues or flows from top management. But in case of informal organization, it is not necessary that top management is required to force someone to do such particular task. It can arises from horizontally as well as vertically also, as in it can go from top to middle or lower management, as well as it can move from same level of employees, same team members, same colleagues also. Arises by virtues of positions in management, as well as arises out of personal qualities of management or personal qualities of each and every employees. Flow of communication. In case of formal organization, it is downward flows, as in it goes from top to bottom, as in management will communicate to superior, superior will to subordinate, etc. But in case of informal organization, sorry, one point was missing, no issue. In case of informal organization, there is a not through a planned route, it can take place in any direction, it can take place in any direction, as in you can take that any kind of flow of communication, you can communicate with any particular person. In case of formal organization, you are required to communicate only with their respective team member or with the help of a scalar chain. Remember the keyword scalar chain or gangplank? Yeah. One point was missing is adherence to rules. In case of formal organization structure, violations of rules may be lead to penalties and punishments. If you don't follow the rules and regulations, you don't follow the laws and legislations, then my dear friends, it will be chargeable for your penalty and punishment. But in case of informal organization, there are no such penalties, there are no such punishments are required. No such penalties and punishments are required. Next is purpose. What do you think the purpose of formal organization? Formal organizational purpose is to achieve or to organizational objectives, or to create a relation, or to create a strategy that should be followed in an organization. So it is generally a purpose of there is to achieve organizational objective, to achieve planned organizational objectives. But in case of informal organization, it deals with the purpose of to satisfying the human needs, to satisfying the job satisfaction, to satisfying the employees needs, so to create the social relationship in between employees. So it deals with to satisfy social and cultural needs and fulfill common interest of each and every employee. Clear? Next is formation or origin. Generally formal organization is formulated by top management, as in it is created by top management, as in what kind of structure should be followed, what kind of rules and regulations should be followed is already told about top management. But in case of informal organization, there is no such creation. This can be communicated or this can be created by individuals' talents, as in how they can communicate, how they can manipulate, or how they require to say or to create a group. It is generally based on mutual interest. Formal organization deliberately planned and created by management, and in case of informal, it emerges spontaneously as a result of social interaction among employees. How spontaneously? Whenever you see the person who is from whom you are getting attracted, or from whom you want to talk, or from whose interests you are getting infected, as well as from whom you think that this is the person we are going to talk about, this is the person we can do a friendship or something like that. So it emerges on a spontaneously basis. It decides as in what kind of stuff of communication you are required to create or to form an informal organization. Next is structure. Well, in case of formal organization, there is a clearly defined of structure of what kind of authority, what kind of responsibility is there, what kind of level of management is there, the structure of organization, as in which person belongs to top management, which person belongs to middle management, which person belongs to lower level management. So there are clearly definition of what kind of structure to be forced or what kind of structure to be maintained in the formal organization. Well defined structure of tasks and relationships. But in case of informal organization, there are no particular set of structure. They can't be said that this is a particular structure of work you need to follow, as in like suppose in case of formal organization, you need to follow a functional structure like an employee A should give order to B, B gives order to C, C gives order to D. This is the proper set of rules, as in you need to communicate with your work A to B, B to C and C to D. But in case of informal organization, there is not required to, you need to follow a functional structure, you need to create a flexible structure. As in A can directly communicate to D or vice versa. Clear? So there is a no clear cut structure because of complex network of relationships. How does it belongs to complex networks? How does it belongs to complex networks? Suppose there are 4 employees A, B, C and D. Clear? They get hired 1 employee each, as in A hires E, B hires F, C hires G and D hires H. Now what will happen in case of formal organization? Only A will communicate with E, B to F and C to G and D to H. But in case of informal organization, E can communicate with A, E can communicate with A, E can communicate with B, E can communicate with C, as well as E can communicate with D also. Same like that, F can also communicate with A, F can also communicate with B, F can communicate with C and F can also communicate with D. Same applies to G also, as in G can communicate with A, G can communicate with the B, G can communicate with C, and G can communicate with D. H can also be communicate with D, C, A and B. Means each and every person can communicate with each and every other person, each and every employee, each and every superior or subordinate, which shows that it is a complex structure, as we are not getting that what kind of structure you are going to follow, what kind of decisions you are going to follow, or they can discuss or they can direct with each and every other person. Okay, no clear cut structure because of complex network of relationships. As in, maybe E and A are the superior subordinate. Suppose maybe E and A are superior and subordinates and superior. E is subordinate and A is superior. But other than this, there is another relation between suppose E and B also. They both are, suppose, husband and wife. This relation is not known by A, C or D or any other employee. It creates a complex situation, as in A can't trust, A can't tell about what kind of scenario you are going to use or what kind of strategies we are going to use. So there may be a complex structure. This is just the example that maybe they may be a husband wife, they may be a friends, or they may be something like that, getting a mutual interest, or they are playing same field, like they are team members or players or competitors, etc. So it may create a complex structure for particular thing. Next is flow of authority. As in case of formal organization, authority is flowed from where? From top to bottom, from downwards strategies also. But in case of informal organization, we already discussed about that flow of authority will be belongs to maybe a horizontally or vertically, as in downwards or upward or downwards or by a vertically also. Authority flows vertically as well as horizontally. Let's revise the concept of difference between formal and informal. Again, let's take a quick revision. You need to write these differences in your exams, so please take the snap of this. Now, difference between formal and informal organization. First is meaning. In case of formal organization, it is refers to based on authorities and responsibilities, which is well defined or based on structure and work. But in case of informal organization, it refers to the network of social relationship created in between the employees, among the employees. Next is nature. Nature of formal is rigid and stable, informal is flexible. Authority. In case of formal organization, authority arises by the virtue of top management, positions in management. But in case of informal organization, authority belongs to arises on the basis of personal quality of each and every person. Next is adherence to rules. If in case any rule is adhered or violated by, in case of formal organization, it will be penalties or punished or penalized. But in case of informal organization, there are no such punishments or penalties for violation of rules. Flow to communication. In case of formal organization, flow is generally based on the basis of scalar chain, on the basis of proper line of communication. But in case of informal organization, there is not required any particular flow. They can get a direct communication also. So there is not such a planned route. Create. Next is purpose. What's the purpose of formal organization? To achieve organizational objectives. And what's the purpose of informal organization to create a social needs, to create a social relationship in between among the employees. Formation or origin. Formal organization is generally formulated by top management or created by top management. But in case of informal organization, it will be created as in emerges spontaneously. It is decided on a spontaneous manner, as in you don't require to create a rule or regulation to particular communicate or ask to a person. Structure. In case of formal organization, there is a well defined structure, as in each and every person known that whom they can coordinate with, who are the superior, whom they have to deal with, as well as from whom they are getting the answers or directions or any work order only. But in case of informal organization, there is a no clear cut structure. They can get orders from each and every person. Each and every person, they can communicate with each and every person. They can share each thing with any person. Clear? Last is flow of authority. As in case of formal organization, authority flows from top to bottom. It means downwards trend. But in case of informal organization, it can be dealt with or it can be shared with horizontally or vertically. As in it can be deal with the superior subordinate level also, as well as it can deal with the team members of same superior also, same production or same group also. Create. Clear, my friends? Okay. This is our all the concept regarding formal and informal organization. In our next class, we will bring our new topic that is named as delegation of authority. Till then, thank you.